Hello, everyone. My name is Isha Wanskade. I'm your 2023 to 24 FBLA Bay Section Vice President of Activities. In this video, we'll be going over FBLA fundraising tips so that you can cover financial aid and registration costs for conferences. FBLA conferences and activities can get expensive, but fundraising can really help cover the cost for your chapter. As my chapter's former treasurer, I've learned some tips that can really help you in starting fundraisers and raising money for your chapter. So first, I'll be going over some fundraising ideas, then some things to consider when planning a fundraiser, and lastly, going about applying for grants. First off, some fundraising ideas that have been done in the past by clubs at my school, as well as my own chapter, are selling Taco Bell's Baja Blast, crumble cookies, boba, lemonade, spam musubi, or donuts. The list goes on, but these are some of the most common food items that are sold. Traditionally, you want to buy in bulk and then sell at a higher price, either at your school or wherever you're selling at. So another fundraising idea that you can include in your chapter is starting a GoFundMe. The most important thing that you can do with a GoFundMe is starting really early on in the year, as well as promoting to your family and friends. You should tell them that you're raising money to attend FBLA conferences and that you would appreciate all the support you can get. A GoFundMe can start as early as the summertime, whereas sometimes fundraisers, you can't start them at school in the summertime because there's no one at school. Next, some things you want to consider when planning a fundraiser is by asking yourself the following questions. First off is, what's the expected weather like the day of your fundraiser? Ideally, you don't want to sell on a rainy day unless that's what unless you are planning for it, because historically, a lot of students leave right after school on a rainy day since they want to get home as soon as possible. If it's a really hot day, you want to plan ahead of time. Maybe you can sell lemonade, or if it's a really cold day, then selling hot chocolate would be the better option. Next thing you want to ask is, does your school allow selling homemade food? If that's the case, then ideally you want to make food or whatever you're selling at home, because that really lowers the cost of compared to buying something. For example, making cookies is a lot cheaper than going and buying them. And then when you sell it at the same price as everyone else who has sold at your school, then you're able to make a much larger profit. Additionally, you don't have to sell food items necessarily. You can always sell non-food items. Like if you're really good at crafts, you could sell clay figurines or stickers. And those can be sold to your family and friends as well. Another question you want to ask is, does your school allow selling on campus? Some schools don't allow that, so you may need to find alternatives of where you can fundraise and raise money for your chapter. But ideally at school, you're able to sell to students. And as a student yourself, you know what other students are willing to buy. So that makes it a lot more convenient for fundraising. The last question you want to ask is, has this fundraiser ever been done before? It could be either by your own chapter in the past or by other clubs at your school, because it would be really helpful to go and ask someone who's done the fundraiser before what they learned from it, so you can avoid making the same mistakes. For example, if one person learned that, oh, selling ice cream is not the best option because it melts really quickly, then you know how to better plan for it when you're doing your own fundraiser. It's also helpful to know what price they sold their food or whatever they're selling at, so that you can maintain competitive pricing. Last but not least, another way you can raise money for your chapter is applying for grants and scholarships. Many school districts offer grants to organizations within the school, so it's really great to work with your advisor to plan on how you're going to present your case to your school district and mention how your chapter needs funds to attend FBLA conferences. If you do need more money, you can also reach out to corporations. There's a lot of businesses out there that are willing to offer grants and scholarships to students. So a little research can go a long way, because applying for these grants and scholarships, you can get a lot of money for your chapter compared to fundraisers. At least fundraisers are really helpful if you're doing them regularly, but um, grants and scholarships tend to raise the most money, but they are also less common. The last thing I'll leave you with is to keep in mind that fundraisers and grants are a great way to raise money for your chapter. So it's really important to start raising money for your conferences early on, so that you have secured enough funds to have all your members attend conferences. Thank you.